Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week of Sabbath School Nuggets. Please, before we begin, would you take a moment to hit those like and share buttons so that others can enjoy these nuggets as well? Also, I just want to take a moment to thank Cynthia for her insights into last week's study, Husbands and Wives Together at the Cross. It was a great study. This week's lesson is entitled, Practicing Supreme Loyalty to Christ. Our memory text comes from Ephesians 6 and 9. And masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Do not threaten them, since you know that he who is both their master and yours is in heaven, and there is no favoritism with him. Have you ever thought about how a slogan like, good help is hard to find, ever got started? It must have started because, in fact, good help, well, it can be hard to find. And why is good help hard to find? Because people can be self-centered and self-serving. They usually don't put the interests of their employer first unless it, well, somehow benefits them. And so employers everywhere complain that good help can be hard to find. It works the other way too. Good jobs, well, they can be hard to find. And why? Because employers also can be self-centered and self-serving. They don't often put their employees' interests first. And so it's rare to find a job where the employer genuinely cares about, well, your welfare. The Apostle Paul wrote our text to show how Christian workers and bosses should treat, well, each other. Now, granted, it's addressed to slaves and masters, not to employees and employers. Slavery was an accepted institution in the Roman world, where it has been estimated that between 1/3 and 1/2 of the population were slaves. Paul, inspired by the Holy Spirit, did something that no one had ever done before. He addressed both the slaves and the masters directly and showed how their faith should radically change the way they related, well, to each other. Although our text was written to slaves and masters, I believe it applies directly to employees and employers today. It shows practically how those filled with the Holy Spirit who subject themselves to one another should relate to one another in the workplace. Now, we come to Sunday's lesson, and once more Paul does something most of the other writers, well, had not. He addressed the relationship between fathers and their children. The Duke of Windsor once quipped, "The thing that impresses me most about America is the way parents obey their children." Paul's point is that both children and parents are to relate to one another in love. Paul calls fathers to do what Christ did, to put the needs of their children ahead of their own, to live to bless and to benefit their children. And their rules and their discipline are to reflect that in love. Then he tells children to honor their parents by trusting in that love the same way that we trust God's love when he commands us to do something. It doesn't matter if you're a boss or an employee or a parent or a child, we are called to love, to bless, and to benefit, to honor and to respect, regardless of who has power and authority. Well, that was our lesson for today. Thank you for stopping by. Have a look at your lesson. I'll see you tomorrow.